So, I was on my friend's live the other night, and the topic was about empathy and whether or not God has empathy for human beings. We've had this conversation a lot in various forms, and every time the topic is brought up, usually we go into things like, well, why is evil happening? Why are bad things happening? Why is he allowing for this? Why is he not involved? So forth and so on. And usually the typical response from Christians or theists in general is to focus on the future or the afterlife. Rather, they're always talking about greater rewards that will happen afterwards. And it made me think of one of my all-time favorite shows ever, Steven Universe. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, but if you're not, it's a cartoon on Cartoon Network, and in particular, it made me think of two characters from this show. Garnet is one of my favorite, if not my most favorite character on Steven Universe. Garnet is made of two other characters called Ruby and Sapphire. They literally combine, fusion, and create this character, Garnet. One thing to note about crystal gems, in particular Sapphire, they all seem to have various powers. They can transform their bodies, they can grow in size, they can conjure up weapons from their gems. But Sapphire in particular has future vision. They can literally see various possibilities of what will happen in the future. Not always definite, but they have all the probabilities laid out in front of them. So normally, Ruby and Sapphire have a great relationship, and they exist as Garnet like 99% of the show. It's usually just Garnet everywhere, existing as Ruby and Sapphire in their fusion. But along the way, they get into a fight. They have an argument because a mutual friend of theirs betrayed them, and it caused them to literally split apart. Like, Garnet is having a hard time. You can see the inner turmoil in their mind, and then poof, Ruby and Sapphire are split up because they are having a disagreement on how to handle the betrayal of their friend. Ruby is clearly upset. Sapphire is trying to be calm and rational about it, but they don't see eye to eye on how to resolve this. Their argument comes to a head when Steven is upset because Garnet went on this vacation with them, broke up into Ruby and Sapphire, and basically their whole argument ruined the whole thing for him. And he walks out at some point. When they go to confront him about it, Sapphire comes to the realization that she wasn't handling the situation as good as she could. She says, and I quote, "I keep looking into the future when all of this has already been solved, as if it doesn't matter how you feel in the present. No wonder you think I don't care." This analysis from Gemini says, this quote reveals Sapphire's typical way of dealing with conflict. Her future vision allows her to see the eventual resolution, causing her to sometimes dismiss the importance of present feelings and struggles. She focuses on the outcome, which can make Ruby and others feel like their current emotions are being ignored or invalidated. Sapphire's detached demeanor, stemming from her ability to see the future, inadvertently leads Ruby to believe she doesn't care about the immediate hurt caused by Pearl's actions. Pearl is the mutual friend that betrayed them. Now, I say all that to say, when we have these conversations with Christians, we as theists, or any empathetic human being really, are like Ruby in the sense that we're mad, we're passionate, we've been hurt, we aren't, happy about it. And our anger, our frustration is often used against us as we're being told we're too emotional and like just having this very human response is utilized against us. Whereas Christians or theists tend to only focus on what's going to happen in the future. Whenever we talk about children being hurt, people starving, people being homeless, whatever the atrocity is, it's always brushed off. It's always downplayed because the focus is always the eventual outcome, the eventual grace, the eventual treasures, and it comes across as so dismissive of what's happening right here, right now, which is incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly cold. Like Sapphire literally at one point sets the whole room on ice because of her icy demeanor, and it's not a great way to be. And she realizes that in her reaction, in Steven's reaction. She realizes that her friends think she doesn't care because she's so focused on the eventual resolution. She's so focused on the future that she's not allowing for people to process and deal with their emotions in real time. Needless to say, this being a cartoon, they do, eventually work it out and resolve their differences. And I would like to believe that Sapphire and also their fusion as Garnet, take into present day situations more than just kind of focusing on the eventual outcome. And they have a conversation with Pearl as well, but that's neither here or there. My greater point is it's really hard to take Christians seriously when they talk about empathy, whether it's the God displaying empathy or they displaying empathy, because they often don't allow, again, for people to feel their very real human emotions and deal with very real situations that are happening in front of them. I'm usually told personally to just put things in prayers, just put it in prayers, but that's a thought, like a thought terminating cliche, because it doesn't allow for problem solving. It doesn't allow for growth, for you to get through whatever situation it is, either on your own fortitude or with the help of others. It's just literally relying on something else or someone else, some deity, to take care of your problems rather than deal with them because they're supposed to be too big for you. It's learned helplessness. And that's, again, very unempathetic because it allows for people to sit back and watch horrible things happen or pretend that they're not happening, or to be ignorant of things that are happening around you because, again, you're singularly focused on one thing, on the future, on the afterlife. It makes you blind to what's happening around you and thus uncaring, unempathetic to do anything to change it.